There are a few direct flights from Berlin airport to other international destinations, and luckily Singapore is one of those. So on March 29th at 9:30 a.m. we got on our flight direct to Singapore. We were definitely not ready for a 13 hours flight.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we definitely had lots of fun with the little live interactive map that we could access to tell us exactly where we were flying over in the world. I brought the My Body book by Emily Ratajkowski. My friend decided to play some games on her phone. Also, I suggested that she should watch Daisy Jones, which she did. We did see some beautiful landscapes, including a huge chain of snowy mountains. We unfortunately couldn't sleep because the seats were too uncomfortable by the time we decided to go to bed. I think I slept on and off maybe for 2 hours max. By the time we woke up and we were reaching Singapore, we noticed that there were some thunderstorms, luckily not right next to us, but at distance. When we got to Singapore airport, we cleared immigration and luckily we got our bags. We got ready for a 33-degree weather in the airport, and then after that we changed terminals. My friend got her dose of caffeine for the day and we took the train to go to our hostel and leave our bags. We decided to leave right after we left our bags and only come back in the evening after our first tour of the city. We were staying in Little India, which was super cute with all these little colorful houses. They reminded me a lot of Portugal actually. For breakfast/lunch, we ended up at the Tekka Center, which was the first hawker center that we visited, where we got something salty and something sweet, just to fill ourselves up to be able to start the day. We saw a bunch of beautiful temples that were in heavy contrast with some of the most modern buildings of the city. I did not expect to see so much culture in Singapore, to be honest, and it was beautiful to see that the temples were very, very frequented by the locals. They were praying and bringing offers, and we were even able to enter some of them by taking off our shoes and putting on a shirt that would cover our shoulders. We then decided to go to the Fort Canning Park, and I was so impressed with the nature here. As soon as we stepped in the green, the air quality changed, and I swear it was at least 3 degrees less hot. We chilled for a little bit in the shadow, and then we were ready to go again. We climbed up a little hill, we took some pictures, and then we decided to go on with our tour. This swing was probably one of the best moments of that day, and one of the few moments of relaxation that we actually had. This was the hardest day ever because we really wanted to beat jet lag, and this was our little moment of fun to repair ourselves.
Mi sta venendo mal di testa?
I looked hideous, but I really needed to cover my head, and we were very dumb. We didn't wear sunscreen that day, and obviously we got a sunburn. We took refuge in a shopping center, and in the Singapore shopping centers, or pretty much any enclosed space, the air conditioning is set probably at 18 degrees, so it was always a shock to go inside and then back outside. I also got some snacks that weren't really fun, but I really wanted to try some Asian snacks, which is unknown territory for me. We ended up in Chinatown, and I think it was one of the most beautiful parts of Singapore. Simona agreed with me. It had a bunch of cute touristy shops, but also this another amazing hawker center was very nearby. We got these Michelin rated dumplings, and they were phenomenal. Best dumplings we ate on the trip. The bao was one of the first many baos that we got, and like the following, it was a little bit too sweet, which was weird, but I have to say we got used to things being more sweet rather than salty in Asia. It started raining, and even though we wanted to visit a couple of more temples, I think they closed relatively early that day. We then decided to get to a last hawker center that we both heard about, but we were a bit disappointed by it. It was too modern for our tastes. And then we headed to the hostel for a nap. After our 1 hour nap, we headed to dinner. We ate at this Indian restaurant that was right in front of our place. It was so funny because of the rain, the power went on and off a couple of times. We then treated ourselves to ice cream. I got taro, which we discovered at night, and we couldn't let go out for the entirety of our trip. The day after was the big day. We started by going to the Sultan Mosque, which we wanted to visit, but unfortunately it was closed, so we admired it from outside. The Sultan Mosque was very close to the Arab Street, which was very, very cute. We stopped there for coffee, iced coffee to be precise. And right after, we started exploring this cute little street that we found by chance, and apparently was a very hip and famous street in Singapore. It was full of little shops and cafes and bars and restaurants, but unfortunately most of the things were closed because it was way too early in the day. We soon came to realize that the day in Singapore and in general in Asia starts a little bit late than what we are used to. We stopped for breakfast at this hawker center, and the man that served us food was very excited to tell us that he also traveled to our country, Italy. It was a very nice small talk interaction, one of many that we would have on this trip. We decided to go to the National Gallery of Singapore, another one of those places that was freezing cold, and neither me nor my friend brought our jackets inside. But the museum was still super enjoyable. We visited a bunch of different exhibitions, the permanent one and some special exhibitions. My favorite parts were definitely the pictures of old Singapore. This way I was able to see the evolution of the country a bit more. I did not know about it beforehand. I loved how I was able to come across Asian art rather than the European-centric art that I see basically every time I get to go into a museum here. I think some other of my favorite pieces were the watercolor paintings, for sure. Overall, I'm super happy we chose this museum. It was very, very diverse. The guides were super helpful and they pointed us towards the most important paintings for Singapore and some of the interactive projects that the gallery had. As soon as we got out of the museum, it seemed like it was about to rain, so other than stopping for some pictures, we ran to our next destination, Gardens by the Bay, because we couldn't risk missing our first stop. We entered the super tree grove and we climbed up the trees, and we were very happy because that was the one activity that they would close down in case of rain. But we made it and it was really worth it. I was very happy to be here because this was one of the landmarks that we knew we would find and we would visit in Singapore. And I think I had some moments of realization here that I was actually in this country on the other side of the world. Our next stop was the Flower Fantasy Dome. We weren't convinced by this exhibition. They really sold it to us on the website, but in case you're going to Singapore, I think you can definitely skip the Flower Fantasy and just do the Flower Dome instead. That's way better, way more interesting. The Flower Fantasy might be interesting if you have kids with you that get easily impressed by flower sculptures. The only interesting and cool part for us was that they had poisonous frogs that we could spot. We got to walk through the Marina Bay Sands Hotel to get on the other side in search of food because we were starving. We saw the Apple Store, which was actually really cool. It was this sphere on the water. We then entered another minus 20 degrees attraction. I froze my ass so much in this one. The flower dome was really exciting. We saw so many flower and trees pieces. The baobabs were really cool. And they had some installations. They had the Japanese sakura with the trains. They had the Pokemon installation. It's really for all ages, I believe. It was really calm and interesting and beautiful. My favorite part were definitely the cherry blossoms. Then it was time for the Cloud Forest. Right now they are doing the Avatar exhibition inside the Cloud Forest. I have never seen Avatar, but it was really impressive. We waited to go at nighttime because the installations are obviously illuminated. They did light up in beautiful ways. The waterfall wasn't as impressive, but you could walk the whole way up, and to see the dome from the top was pretty cool. I have to say they did a really good job, and they kind of made me want to watch Avatar after this. We were able to see the super trees lighting up from inside the Cloud Forest dome. It was raining a little bit, but by the time we got out, the rain had stopped, and I was so happy to be out of there because I was freezing inside the Cloud Forest, and I even had my rain jacket on. We then went by the weather side where we could admire the night skyline of Singapore. It was pretty impressive. It has been a while since I haven't seen huge skyscrapers in the night. And then it was time for the Spectra Water and Lights show, which was really nice. I highly recommend to catch at least one of the shows. They do several every night. Finally, we headed to the Makan Sutra Glatton's Bay for our favorite activity. We had a wonderful dinner, we tried a bunch of different things, and that's how our time in Singapore ended. The day after, we headed to Thailand, so stay tuned for the next couple of episodes of my Asia trip. Thanks for watching.